Hello, hello. Good morning, everyone. As you start coming on in, welcome to Banner and Backbone's Anti-Fascist Book Club. I'm Nick Perro, co-founder here at Banner and Backbone and resident anti-fascist. I'm joined today by three of my friends and colleagues. I'll start at the bottom right this morning so that Chris is on a call, so he'll be back with us in a minute, is my good friend from so many things and the host of Freedom Over Fascism, Dr. Stephanie Wilson. How are you today, my friend?
I am anti-fascist today.
Nice.
Good.
Yeah. And now you were telling me about a live you did on Thursday, and I had only seen half of it, so now I got to go back and watch the rest. So I'm really interested in that. But otherwise, it's not all good because the world sucks. But
it's true.
But
Is the world on fire? Is the world on fire? I haven't noticed.
Right. Well, it's flooding. I mean, it's underwater clearly in Washington, and it's I don't know if the fire started in Colorado. It's just
we'll just say the world is not in a mix of being on fire and being underwater.
And I always wonder, like, why can't we take the places that are flooded and bring the water to the places that are burning or drought?
Just helicopter it over.
I mean, seriously, like, I don't know,
just gotta rake it. You gotta rake those leaves and
rake the forest.
God, rake it and unleash the water. Just unspigot the spigots. Right?
Spigots.
Open the spigots like nobody's ever seen.
All right.
God help us. I know.
Yeah.
You can't get
help us.
Right?
It's good to see you, Stephanie. Thank you for being anti-fascist this morning
with
us and joining us on Friday, as always.
I might do this a bunch today because my brain's a little scrambled, but I'm very pleased to be here.
Good.
Thank you.
And it's okay if your brain's a little scrambled. I understand.
Yes.
I understand better than most. So
I know you do.
We give space for our friends and we let them have bad days too, even when they join us. And we're going to make it a good day. So we're going to help you have a great day, Steph.
Yes.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Tara.
Next, we have my good friend, Tara Devlin of Tarabuster and the Political Voices Network, who's joining us today as always. And I believe restreaming with us on the Political Voices Network too. So good morning, Tara. How are you?
Good morning. I'm all right. And I hear you 100%, Stephanie. I'm the same way. When people say, how are you? It's really hard to answer that question. How am I? I'm like, look around, everybody. That's how I feel. But
it's also really hard to separate yourself. Like some days I put my devices on do not disturb because I was getting all of the Substack, and I was just like, no, I need a few hours without the notifications.
Sometimes you do. Yeah. So that's what I do sometimes. Just turn off everything and I'll binge watch something that has nothing to do with anything that we're talking about, just to get out of the chaos for a minute. And in fact, a friend of mine was over my house just right before the show, and we were talking about, and she's a really wonderful person, kind, sweet, generous, and she's talking about she's walking around feeling rage, and this is new to her because she's not a rageful person, but it's everything around us is really hard to separate. Of course, we are one, as the Buddhist philosophy is that we are one with our environment, of course. And how can you not be affected by all this negativity constantly, the chaos, the adding, the response to everything in this administration, of course, is cruelty on top of cruelty. The response to cruelty is more cruelty. It's more division. It's more hate. It's so I really hope that we use this as a catalyst to waking up the true like, what is the meaning of life? What is the meaning of an economy? What is the meaning of society? We're in this together. That's what I believe, that
Right.
we don't and right now we're in we have the worst people on the planet in charge, and we really have to do something about that, I think. So
Yes.
Well, I remember we definitely do.
Rock
I
on.
was
Yes.
listening to a podcast. Did you guys ever? Okay, there's a show, The Warrior, on HBO or Netflix. I don't know. It's really, really good. San Francisco, with the
okay,
Chinese and the Americans.
it's called The
So
Warrior. I'm
good.
writing
Yes.
it down because
It's
I
like
need something.
it's got a lot of fighting. So some
Okay.
people love it for the fighting because the kung fu is like really genuine. But anyway, so I was listening to a podcast with the actors, and the show is made by Bruce Lee's daughter, and they were all talking about like what an amazing person he is, and apparently he was, and his philosophy was to be like water, to always be like water. And when you think about it, like, it kind of helps both the flexibility and and your ability to sort of drown, but also to swim.
Yes.
So I thought
and to adapt, and to, you could be badass if you need to, but also be, a calming influence, right? You can be, I mean, I think adapt, but I think it's, you have to be engaged, of course. And there's a lot of people that don't even want to be I know a few who have definitely disconnected from everything for their own sanity, they say, but that's really what the fascists want. They want us to disconnect so they can continue to accumulate more power. And in fact, they've done studies on negative ads, and Republicans are champions of negativity, of course, and negative political advertising. And there's studies that show that people, the more negative ads, the less people vote. So that's by design. They do that on purpose, of course, because they want you to disengage. So, yeah.
Disengagement is key. Uninterest and feeling like it's inevitable, so that you're not going to do it, is key.
Yep.
And Tara, I think you helped break that myth down a lot too. So thanks for joining us, as always.
Thank you.
And perfect timing, and this is why I did it this way, is we're back with our good friend Chris Goldsmith, who is, I have up in the left-hand corner, the Veterans Fighting Fascism QR code. That's one of his nonprofits and the organization that helped fund all of this and set all of this up in terms of building the original book clubs and the list and the research and all of the efforts that have gone into it. And I'm so glad to have gotten to know Chris so far, and be able to work alongside him throughout all of this. He knows a lot. He's an expert, and would love for you to just reintroduce yourself again, Chris, for everyone, and say hi today. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning. So I was on the phone with the FBI just now, which is why I was a black screen. And
Okay.
I'm just smiling because Nick and I are sitting here wearing Antifa flags on our shirts, like as I was talking to an FBI agent. Some Yahoo thought it was a good idea to threaten me and my wife. And
oh wow,
Oh, no.
Oh,
I
great.
don't know why people do that, because they usually go to jail. So
yeah.
And
why? This is what always gets me confused. Why threaten you? Why?
Because most people online who make threats don't threaten professional researchers who specialize in hunting Nazis.
But I mean, like, you're doing a good thing. You're contributing to the world. You're trying to make the world safe for democracy. You're a patriot. You're somebody that's trying to help the person that's threatening you. and everyone.
That makes a lot of fascists very upset.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
doing
crazy.
that.
That's why I never understand. I never understand. Like, what's your problem? Like, oh, we talk about, leaving no one behind. We talk about a society that works for everyone. Wow, you must be pissed off. It's incredible. Yeah.
I have a question,
So you
Chris. Did it seem like the FBI was sort of on point, or were they?
Yeah, so I have got let's see, sitting on my desk.
Somewhere.
Uh-oh.
Oh, we lost your voice.
Muted. Uh-oh.
See, everything happens on lives,
Yeah.
including getting calls from the FBI, where people have to step away and changing headphones. We'll see how this works.
Yeah.
But
all right.
We'll figure it out.
While Chris is fixing this, I'll reintroduce myself a little bit too.
Uh-oh.
We lost the Nazi hunter. The FBI is out to get him. Now the tech bros are trying to shut him down in real time with headphones down.
No.
Yeah, we don't
Can't
hear you
yet.
Weird.
And I did not.
Technology sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just like the straightforward.
Substack
Substack was glitching for me on whatever day, Wednesday, really badly.
I'll say there's questions in the chat. Do you honestly believe the FBI is going to help? And yes, there are field agents and field officers who still do their jobs every single day really, really, really well, and do it without fear or favor.
Okay, now can you hear me?
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. So, so this I keep a folder somewhere near me of all of the DOJ victim notification service letters. So every time there's a case, I get to log into the VNS, the Victim Notification Service on the DOJ website, and I get to see how the cases are progressing. So far there's been at least 4 neo-Nazis locked up, in part, not entirely, but in part because of threats against me. So, they can keep doing it if they want. It's fine. I'm gonna get them. I always
keep
win.
going to jail.
Well, it's not like they've ever been accused of being the smartest or the sharpest tools in the shed, right?
Yeah. Yep. So the one that was the most personal was around this time a few years ago in 2022, I believe. A neo-Nazi thought it was a good idea to show up at my mom's house and hand deliver a death threat. And this guy was a librarian who worked at a public library. And this guy wanted to get caught and apparently didn't realize that I was gonna make sure that justice came his way. So he missed his Christmas the following year with his family. So he spent 6 months in jail. He was in North Carolina. And, I wouldn't wish a hurricane on anyone, but he was locked up while his family went through the hurricane. Oh, so I hope that he learned that lashing out and breaking the law to threaten people over politics is costly. And sometimes you're not available to help your family in need if you choose to break the law like that.
Yeah. And that's how it should be.
And get a life. God, it doesn't make any sense.
Better.
Yeah, do your own show. You want to do the pro-fascist show, if that's what you like.
Well,
right?
he's got a Substack that I still pay for because I'm collecting evidence. So
good.
Keep on writing.
Good.
Hey, why not?
$20 a month, $20
a
month. I'll pay $20 a month for the rest of my life because it's worth the 6 months that he spent in jail.
Oh, wow.
He can have it. I will fund his
it.
fascism as long as I get to keep notes. Because if I can send him in for a second round It's going to be a lot longer than 6 months.
He's sick person. And that's the bottom line. That's the common denominator in all these fascists. They are very mentally ill. They have, I believe, they should just get help and stop inflicting their manias on the rest of society, and the world would be a better place.
Back to Strongmen,
Yes.
to Strongmen.
Yeah.
The book opens talking about Benito Mussolini, being a psychotic child,
Right.
someone who stabbed people, including like a girlfriend. So yeah, there is something about fascists or something about people that is broken that drives them towards fascism.
Absolutely.
Although it says that he had the ability to charm powerful male conservatives and influential women who taught him how to behave at crucial moments of his political life. So I guess the stabbing people is
as a
appropriate way to
child,
behave.
It just goes to show you, what kind of child. If a child is stabbing people, I think that would be a red flag for getting that child.
Yeah, it's
help.
One of those like they kill cats, they kill and skin animals when they're kids. Like those are warning signs that psychologists have been telling us about for decades now.
Yes.
This is a narcissistic personality. There are some really bad traits that probably associate with this. However, it can be helped. Like, you're not a lost cause because you have some evil tendencies as a kid. You can go to therapy and you can learn and you can get assistance. And if you take those lessons, you might not turn out to be a strongman asshole.
Or a serial killer.
Or an abuser and a rapist and a pedophile in chief. And I'm Nick Parra. Welcome. Hey, y'all. I hate fascism. And it's been a fun week because, Stephanie, you alluded to it. I got into a fight I'm helping get into a fight with Michael Cohen, with Zev Shalev. Not really a fight, but just calling out truths and facts around abuse and different cases and foreign influences and the types of things we actually see in how some of these fascist leaders came into charge and into power, like the military coups in Africa that took it was the Congo, I think, was writing about in the second chapter, was where we kept paying for, I think it's Zaire. Let me get the actual, but we kept paying for a dictator who came into military power, who claimed to be a nationalist, but kept all the foreign corruption, and took all the money. Like, we're seeing this same types of behaviors.
We did that in South America a lot too.
Yes. And I'll make sure I get the location right for where the takeover was, because there were a couple of them. Military coups in the last decade. And I think we're going through a mix of both all at once, because I think this group of fascists, as much as we call them dumb and like demean them when we can, is they're not really dumb. They've learned really important lessons of their own from history. But they just took the wrong ones, at least, especially in our views. They took the pro-fascist, pro-strongman views, and are using, I think, both the soft power coup and the military coup in conjunction, rather than either separating both or waiting to do one or the other. I think they're trying to do both because they know they only have a certain amount of time. What do you guys think about that?
I think they are in the consolidate. I agree, and then they're in the consolidating power stage. But I think that power is consolidating quickly.
Yes.
And the people who are the Cash Patels, who are laughable, will be replaced by people who are far more evil and far more useful. So even, with Trump dying, JD Vance the whole system will have been put in place, so it won't matter that much. That's my thought on that.
Mm.
That we can't be like, oh, well, Trump's really sick, he's going to die in the next 5 months. Okay, great. That's, I mean, good, but these strongmen, particularly this one, has built an entire system beneath him. And the only thing we lose without Trump is his cult of personality. But by then, power will have been consolidated and it won't matter anymore because there's so much strength in the state.
Mm. Well, and the other thing is that what I think is that the Democrats are not sounding this alarm enough. And and partly that's how it's getting normalized. The damage that they've already done with Project 2025 is extensive. And that has to all, if we're going to get this country back and make it so it works for more than just the billionaires, then these are things we have to rectify, and including the corrupt and illegitimate Supreme Court. So that validates this coup, that gives more power. When you even back when Dick Cheney, when they were talking about the unitary executive back in the day, what is a unitary executive? It's a king. That's what they were talking about. It's doing away with checks and balances, and it's anti-American. It's fundamentally un-American. That's how it has to be messaged, I believe. The founders fought a revolution for these checks and balances, and they're completely turning us back into a dictatorship. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
Did you guys see Chris Armitage wrote an article this morning about how all the data on how the 2024 election was stolen. Zev has done a lot of that work also, and there was another guy who said
This Will Hold is another great one.
Okay, this Will Hold has been trying to get it in front of the DNC for a year, and they won't acknowledge it
to get the data from the election
to even pursue it.
Wow. And so they are saying that the election was stolen in 2024.
Well, what Chris Armitage pointed out in that article, I read it this morning, what also is that Ken Martin promised that they would release all that data on internal
I'm sorry.
election, all the internal DNC election data and results and what they actually saw and have audited, and they're refusing to release any of it. They won't. They just said they're not going to anymore. And I think that's a huge red flag.
Yeah.
Democracy is built on trust, on transparency, and the foundation of democracy is voting, is our ability to have a civic voice. And I think we all miss the final part of voting is also validating the vote. And I think that's a huge problem, is that we're not validating our vote right now. We're just saying, trust me, bro, this was the result.
Right.
And whether I believe the election was stolen or not doesn't matter. I just want the data. I want to see, is it true or not? And was there manipulation? Because we don't ever ask that in our country anymore. And Chris, jump in on this. I don't know if you've read the article or not.
I have not, but as someone who has been on the front lines of fighting disinformation for over about a decade now, I am very concerned about where this conversation's going. There is no credible evidence that the election was stolen in 2020 or 2024. Yeah. None of the people who are presenting supposed evidence are credible in any way. There is no evidence that it was stolen. There's a lot of evidence that Joe Biden shouldn't have run. There's a lot of evidence that despite everything, as terrible as Donald Trump was, 70 or 80 million Americans really fucking love the guy. Like that is why we lost the election, because a lot of people don't understand what fascism is and think that if it happens, they're going to be winning out. Again, I just want to be very, very, very clear about this.
Yes.
I've never seen anyone with any level of credibility present any evidence that remotely compares to the fact that people didn't want to vote for Kamala Harris. Like that's it. That's the whole story.
Yeah. And I want to make sure, well, for me, I just want the data. That's really what I want. I just want validation, because that's part of our democracy. Like, we have taken the key step of voting and validating out. And for Americans who want to be able to vote and trust that the vote was true, like take Washington State, they hand count every ballot. They do mail-in ballots. They do all paper. They count them by hand. They audit them and certify them through a counting system, but they then validate that the counts were true. And all of this is just to discourage voting and discourage trust in the system.
Yes.
And I just want trust. Like, whether it was stolen or not is not the question that I care about. The question I care about is, do we trust that the results are true? And if we can't trust, then people are more inclined to stay home, and they're more inclined to not vote, or they're inclined to take other forms of voter suppression, such as gerrymandering and vote roll purgings and things like that, or what Jack Smith is talking about in the House and revealing evidence on the interference in the election. And I think the 2020 election was stolen in a different way and not through specific vote manipulation. And I think this is just one step. Is like, I want to make sure that we have trust in the institution of voting and the institution that democracy is. And I think that's really, for me, that's what it comes down to is the vote right? And if it is, okay, he won, let's get him the fuck out. If not, then there are constitutional remedies to stolen elections that we can fill without violence. There are ways to overturn elections and basically redo the results of it and have the House install a new president. That said, that's a really far discussion. And I am promoting some of it on Banner and Backbone and saying it is a bold strategy if we wanted to go that way. But we need truth. We need truth on what the data actually is. And if it's not stolen, at least through the vote count, okay, we remove that as a possibility and we move on.
I want people to be aware, because I do this myself. Sometimes we fall into the Tucker Carlson just asking questions here, right?
Yeah.
And that is a way to inject doubt in the elections that are secure. All of the evidence that exists says that our elections are secure. Just asking questions about whether or not they're secure when there's not evidence that it's not secure, that is undermining people's faith in our electoral process in a way that is counterproductive. Hunting for the truth when we already know the truth, and that is that we have free and fair elections in this country, at least right now, that is undermining our democracy. Like, it's kind of the same thing as, like, you don't hear me, usually, sometimes I slip, you don't hear me say, like, the media is broken, the media sucks, the mainstream media doesn't do X, Y, and Z, because I'm siding with the fascists when I do that. I'm undermining faith in our institutions. And we need to be specific. If there's a specific problem with a specific machine in a specific district, like, let's focus on that specific machine. If there's a problem with, journalists who wrote one story that was fucked up, we shouldn't condemn all of the media for that, because we're undermining key components of our democracy. Like, defend institutions is one of the rules from on tyranny, right? We are doing the fascist job for them when we entertain conspiracy theories.
Well, I'm a big critic of the media. When I read the defend institutions, I read it as the institutions like our like the Social Security Administration, the VA, and things like that, not necessarily corporate media. You know, because I think that the media is big part of the problem. And even, I mean, if the fascists, I understand what they're criticizing it from another point of view because they think it's all fake news. I think it's, you know, corporate news. It's pro billionaire news. It's pro, you know, kiss up, kick down news, in my opinion. So yeah.
Yeah, Chris, I get you. I do want to push back in a slightly different way than Tara did, which is while say the big corporate media that are the institutions showed for years that they were covering politics. They were covering the odds, not the stakes.
Yep.
And
amen.
So I think we shouldn't condemn media, especially since we are part of a new media ecosystem, but we should have eyes wide open. For instance, David Brooks just wrote an article on the column in the New York Times, like basically saying enough with this Epstein crap already. And lo and behold,
he's in it.
But
he's in there.
But most people, I think I can fairly say this. Most people, I'm not saying most readers of the New York Times, but most people do not understand the firewall between the opinion desk and hard news. Right. So David Brooks lost his credibility. He's a columnist. I don't give a shit about David Brooks. Like shouldn't give.
But we should give a shit about local news. And Sinclair has bought almost all the local news stations in the country.
Right.
And they're forcing
that kind of data is important. I mean, I totally get where you're coming from. And I actually regret, you know, I don't want to be furthering baseless conspiracy theories. I do want to be furthering research and taking evidence where it actually exists. So most people get their news from local news. We know who it's owned by. We know what they're told to say. I think it's fair to say that weighs in on the side of the fascists. Not everybody, clearly, but with the new Warner Brothers deal and the Bezos owning the Post and all of that, I think is evidence that we really do need to take into consideration because I can't watch and talk at the same time because it exists and there are true things, and not all conspiracy theories are bonkers, right? Because some
right, yeah, I agree with you, but where my concern is like Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post. That is a true data point, and that does have an impact both on their opinion, like very heavy impact on the opinion, and it does have an impact on the news desk. But it does not mean that the Washington Post is inherently corrupt, right? And that is the same type of clarification that we need to make when we're saying that there are problems with something in the elections. Like, to say the election was stolen is false. There's no evidence that the 2024, 2020, or any other election was stolen. That is a lie. That is harmful. And we should not promote that idea. That is a harmful conspiracy theory
that we started, talking about suppressing votes in the very beginning of this conversation. Eroding trust in the election because the election got stolen makes people less, it lowers their propensity to vote. Right. So when we say that there are like questions about the election, I'm of the opinion that it's better not to raise those questions without speaking very, very carefully than to speak in terms that our audience might misinterpret or might misunderstand.
So let's say it in a clearer way, at least from my opinion, from talking to This Will Hold and getting to hear from her specifically is, and I said this while with T on the live, was even if the data is not there, and I'm the one asking I want the data, was I asked her the follow-up question of, no matter what is the action that you want to accomplish from this? And it was, we want active measures put in place that provide either hand recounts that shift us to paper ballots and hand counting systems like Washington and mail-in voting. So there is a goal of hardened election security and more trust that she's trying to build with at least her research. And I want to make sure, at least for T, I point that out because I've spoken to her. And that, I think, is part of the important distinction, is the election process in the US in general has been corrupted in ways through gerrymandering, through roll purges, through other institutional mechanisms to suppress the vote already. We need ways to guardrail and encourage that vote by doing things like, hey, let's do all mail-in paper ballots like Washington State does, where they really trust their process. You don't see a lot of need for recounts in Washington because they automatically count and validate. And that's it. For me, the validation process, the ability to have a hardened guardrail system that actively triggers and is not a passive responsive system. It just automatically, we recount and hand count all of our elections, because that's what we should do in a democracy to build more trust. And I think, Chris, you're making a really good point, at least for me, is how do we word this correctly so that we don't undermine what we're trying to do? And I don't want to undermine the electoral process. I want to harden it, make it more accessible, and make it more trusted by folks. And I think this rolls into a lot of what happens in, at least in the intro or the first chapter around Strongmen, in the takeover is how do we break some of those elite corporatist institutional takeovers, such as the corporatist and elitist takeover of media and the consolidation of media under far-right influence and pro-fascist influence. I'll say the New York Times only because I know some of their history just from reading, not picking on the New York Times in a bad way or any way right now. They have had a history of being pro-fascist at times because, just like other institutions, their leadership decided for that company that we're going to promote pro-fascist ideology. We're going to suppress anti-fascist and pro-democracy ideologies. And I think, Chris, you're really right on the nuance of like the discussion on how we frame the truth in the correct framing. Also, so that we're not attacking. And I talked to Ethan Faulkner yesterday. He's an really interesting guy. He's a little more revolutionary in some ways than I am. That said, he's also very class-based, and his idea is the vertical war and how do we horizontally align ourselves in a class solidarity system. And part of that is breaking through the corporatist and elitist like wording so that we talk to each other and it's not beating up personality. It's taking ideology out of personality so that we don't drive away our audience. Like I want MAGA folks and non-voters to be welcome here because I want them to learn from us. I want them to understand and want to learn.
Exactly.
And I think this is a space that provides that. If we ask questions where it's, I'm not beating you, the person, up, but I might be beating the idea that has been beaten into you, as a strategy.
Absolutely. Yes. And that's the whole thing that Trump's been doing from the beginning. He's been devaluing the currency of truth in this country. And it is divisive by design, because you have to have public trust in government and institutions. That's the core, one of the pillars of a democratic society is trust. And it's completely eroded in this country. So, and he did it on purpose. And this needs to be called out. And when we talk about media, I believe that the American people, and this is what I do on my show, and what I believe we're doing here, is to educate the American people and to connect it back to the fact that we're trying to stabilize and promote these pillars of democracy, like a free media, that isn't controlled by billionaires. So the consolidation and it's just like what happened with the Jimmy Kimmel thing, where that's a case in point, where even when he was put back on the air because of the pushback and I guess the boycotts and whatnot, but there were certain segments, and I think it was Sinclair stations that refused to continue to run him, because the billionaire who owns Sinclair said no. So so all those people who lived in those areas that wanted to watch Jimmy Kimmel live or whatever had to not watch it, because one dude said, sorry, and this is not America. That's not American, or at least not in my estimation. That's it's authoritarianism.
And looping back to what we were just talking about too on elections, somebody asked in the question or in the chat on Substack, and I'm going to answer this one because I've answered it a few times, and I want to make sure I'm really clear. Elections will not be canceled. Martial law, national emergencies cannot cancel elections. Those are state-run. Some states may try to cancel their elections. Some of the more authoritarian states may try, but take an American's right to vote away and see what the fuck happens.
Yeah, that's not going to be good.
The one thing, there's two things in America that people care about more than anything. It's being able to say whatever the fuck they want, which means voting, and have guns. And you take one of those two rights away, and people are going to freak the fuck out in this country. You take one of those two rights away, specifically from white people, you're going to see a revolt from the conservative side in a way that they're not prepared for. So,
but they have guns.
Oh, yeah, but libertarians will break away when they don't have the right to vote anymore. Libertarians will stop and go, the fuck did you just say I can't do? They believe that they get the opportunity to do whatever the fuck they want. And when that right gets taken away for them personally, there's going to be a lot of blowback in a very bad way. So no, the elections are not going to get canceled, because the Republican Party understands, even as fascist as it is, that if they take away the right to vote, even if it's not a free or fair election in any way, as long as you have the illusion of voting, it will stop pissing certain Americans off,
right? And
they will be complacent.
Yeah, they'll try their regular dirty tricks, and that's what they do. They've been doing it for years, for decades, longer than I've been alive. But if you cancel
the vote, you're going to enrage and engage and activate people who have never voted, only because they're like, I just don't want to vote, but fuck you if you take my right to vote away. Absolutely. And that's a very American thing, is the fuck you, take my rights away, see what happens.
Yes.
And so I'm not the one who would do anything like that. However, I would be I come take my right to vote away and we're going to have some problems. But the libertarian wing of the Republican Party right now, I have a feeling, would be super pissed especially if a child pedophile did it, especially if a child rapist did it and decided to do it. The reason, like, they're going to try the most extreme things now, because just like Mussolini, when he was backed into a corner, he had to do the most extreme thing he could to remain in power. Just like all strongmen and dictators end up doing, is there's a crisis moment where it's either they lose power forever or they control it, and then it's theirs until they die, or the next, well, until they die, basically. We're getting near, I think the Epstein files are that crisis moment. Everybody keeps talking about Reichstag fire moments, like various things. The Epstein file release is the true moment. Like, this is what we've been leading to for months and months and years of pressure and people digging in. This is that moment. This is the moment of Mussolini being backed into a corner. This is the moment of Donald Trump and his fascist pets being backed into a corner. And if the Susie Wiles interview had not dropped on Wednesday, I think we would have had I think Donald Trump would have announced on Thursday a declaration of war from the executive, which, I mean,
who knows?
Whatever the fuck that means, but you know.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, they still haven't released the Epstein files.
It's worth expanding on that. So, I mean, the designation of the Venezuelan government, of Nicolas Maduro and his regime as a foreign terrorist organization, is something that Donald Trump announced. Now, FTOs are designated by the State Department. The designation doesn't historically come from the White House, but under the unitary executive theory that they're operating under, Donald Trump can do whatever the fuck he wants. So what Donald Trump believes is that by designating the Maduro government as a foreign terrorist organization, that gives him free reign, and by announcing that fentanyl, which is not a Venezuelan thing, is a weapon of mass destruction. Again, he thinks he has another pathway into being able to act unilaterally and without congressional approval. Thankfully, Republicans at this point in Congress seem to be willing to stand up against this. They do not have interest in joining another war of choice. The Republican voters, MAGA voters, do not want to see another war of choice. So we just have to hope that that Donald Trump doesn't get his fifis hurt by anything that Maduro does, because ultimately, as the Vanity Fair piece makes clear, Susie Wiles and Stephen Miller and all the rest will just go along with Trump if he's persistent enough.
And he will go along with them if they're persistent enough and the last person in the room. So
and if they're not, and they become useless, he'll replace them. He'll find a way to replace them with someone worse, because that's what he does, or someone more loyal to him.
They're all worse.
Why there's
exactly. They get worse.
Stephen Miller becoming the new. Sorry, no, we're talking over each other.
It's okay.
Let me finish this real quick.
Yeah.
The worst is Stephen Miller becoming the next Susie Wiles.
Oh God.
Chief of Staff. Like that's the next step for this.
Right.
So like
that would
there is a plan of next people in line. Like you have to tear something down, and those people aren't the same people that end up being the ones who rebuild the institutions in their images. So we're only on step one of tear down, and strongmen tear down to consolidate power and take over all the institutions, and then certain people have to go. Pete Hegseth may not be the right war secretary or secretary of wannabes or dumbassery that Donald Trump needs in the long run. He might need someone worse. Pam Bondi may not be the right attorney general after the Epstein drop happens, because she's implicated in some of this and in a lot of it, I think. And so we're going to see turnover. So that he gets more loyalists in is my.
Well, that's it. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is that there will always get worse, because that's the only qualification is loyalty. So as he gets worse, he needs worse people that will just rubber stamp whatever he wants. And he doesn't have any core ideology. It is whatever will make him more money and get him more attention. And I mean, he's a very damaged person, of course. And so, yeah, if it just gets more terrifying, because that's it. That's all you. I mean, if Stephen Miller isn't loyal enough, if Pam Bondi isn't loyal enough, because we all forget. And what the corporate media fails to remind the American people at all times, that the attorney general is supposed to be the attorney general for the United States, not for Trump. And clearly she's acting as his personal attorney, and the whole agency is. And it shouldn't be allowed. And this is where the institutional amnesia comes in, where the American people start disconnecting. I believe they don't see the media as a pillar of democracy. They don't see the Department of Education as a pillar of democracy, and all these institutions that they're tearing down. They're all pillars of democracy that are necessary to keep our system functioning. But that's what they're destroying. So, yeah, we have to remind the American people that that's the ultimate project, to get rid of democracy, to replace it with autocracy, fascism, because they want to steal. That's it. They don't want anybody in the way of the grift, of the crime, because they suck. They're not very they're not like, they're not innovators. They're just agents of chaos. They just want money and power, and they want, they don't want to have to consider the general welfare, or whatever it might be, or the environment, or the future, or all the things that they're doing to set us up for failure is just so should not be tolerated. Yeah.
We Lefty Prof in our chat on Substack says the laws are already on the books for those media monopolies. We just have to enforce them. And I keep saying this too, is there's so many laws on the books.
That's right.
That could stop this. Fascism came in Germany in a lot of ways because the lawyers refused to do what they were supposed to do and uphold their Weimar Constitution. They failed to uphold democracy and the rule of law. Our legal system right now, in a lot of ways, is still holding. Our lawyers are still doing their jobs. There's more lawyers out there that could be doing more, and there's probably a lot of lawyers who are sitting back and going, well, someone else will take care of it. I don't have to worry about it. Your civic duty as a lawyer is to uphold the law. You take an oath to uphold the constitutional law and the order, which means, hey, let's start prosecuting some of these people. Chris talks about it all the time, is hold legal consequences and punish and have punitive measures and accountability in real time. That's how you stop this. That's how we tell them they can't win, is in real time. We go, no, you can't have a monopoly of 83% ownership of both the media distribution and content management.
Right.
Like, that's illegal.
And TikTok and TikTok.
Yeah. And that's where we need to stop asking ourselves, who's going to come and do it and who's going to help us. Is part of the book club is reminding you that you are the one who's going to do it. You are the one who's going to help us. We are here on a national level. Chris, Tara, Stephanie, myself, all the others who join us on the book clubs, in Find Out podcast, in the Political Voices Network, on Sick of the Shit publications, all over Banner and Backbone, on Freedom Over Fascism, and the work that Stephanie does. And I don't know if you're still part of the Democracy Coalition.
The Democracy group. Yeah, I
Democracy
am.
group.
Yeah, they have a bunch of other podcasts.
Those are all works that we're doing on a national level to help re-inspire and reclaim patriotism and a service mentality, where sometimes we have to remind ourselves. I am Melissa Corrigan and all the work that she's doing around flock safety. She is a local reporter doing national work both. More people can do that. We want to inspire and get more of you out there to just do it on your own. Be the reporter that you think needs to be there, and then put it out. You have this tool called Substack that lets you do it for free. And you should. And then let us know that you're doing local reporting and give us your sources and what you're talking about, and we'll help spread the news. And that's what we can do on a national level to help everyone locally get stuff out there. And part of that, because we're closing in right at the top of our hour mark for the show, we like to keep these to about an hour long, give everybody their time on Fridays. There's a lot to do, a lot going on. But I want people to sell themselves. First, I'm going to sell Banner and Backbone like I was just doing. Come join the network, come support the growth here so that we can host additional book clubs that are maybe the fiction books that drive anti-fascist content and are playbooks for anti-fascist material, or start the secondary anti-fascist training series through Veterans Fighting Fascism, which I want to be able to expand into and have more options for. So please come support the Banner and Backbone network and help us grow as we continue putting out information and all of the content we can. And then come support me, Sick of This Shit Publications. That's my home outside of here. I'm going to go top down, left to right, and end with you, Stephanie. Come support me at Sick of This Shit Publications, where I'm doing masculinity talks and what I'm calling the new and intelligent masculinity. It's a new manosphere. It's a place that doesn't suck.
Everybody needs to watch the live from yesterday. With Nick and Walter and okay, my brain is deceiving me. Help me. Oh, Eric and Evan Fields.
Yeah. So yesterday I did a live with Walter Ryan, Dr. Eric Lulov, and Evan Fields. I was just talking to Evan about a really tough family crisis he's going through right now, and a tough possible divorce that he's going through. And we just gave him the space and we just talked, and it was, we let each other feel our emotions, and it was a positive experience for all of us. And we got so much love and support from the community, and my publication's on a 60% sale right now. So come join Forever at 60 off. Next, we got my good friend over here who has helped fund all of the research that goes into the work that we're now able to do. The creator of Veterans Fighting Fascism, Task Force Butler, a host on the Find Out podcast, and his own On Offense with Chris Goldsmith. Chris, sell yourself a little, my friend.
Thanks. And I have a hard stop, so I'm going to have to jump immediately. I apologize.
Glad I got to you next then.
Yeah, thank you. The latest episode of On Offense features General Honore. He is the general who became a household name after he responded to Katrina. He led Task Force Katrina. The thing that he is most known for is literally jumping out of a helicopter with a big fat cigar in his mouth and yelling at a bunch of service members and cops to lower their weapons.
Yes.
In this moment, like, there's no better person to hear from. So you can check out On Offense with Chris Goldsmith. My first name is spelled with a K. Anywhere that you listen to podcasts, on Substack, on YouTube, it's on the Valor Media Network. Thanks for having me, guys. I've got to jump.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks so much, Chris. Really appreciate it, as always, my friend. And I'm listening to that episode today. I suggest everybody do too. I started listening to it this morning. It's a great start. It's a great episode. Chris does a lot of really good work, so go support him and everything he's doing. Next, we have my good friend Tara Devlin with Tarabuster and Unapologetic Liberal Media. Tara, sell yourself, my friend.
Oh God, that's so much pressure. Yes, just follow me if you can, please. Subscribe to my Substack and the YouTube channel, youtube.com/C4channel/Tarabuster. I do work on the Political Voices Network, so if you follow my Substack, it will all be there. So thank you so much. Thank you,
Tara. Appreciate you being here with us. And Tara does a lot of good work and shows. Come see her Friday night, every Friday evening.
We'll have a show. We have our Friday night gathering, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Yes.
Love it. I've been on the show with Tara before. It's a lot of fun. Go enjoy her show this evening. And someone scanned your QR code.
I saw that.
Thank you to whoever just scanned the QR code. You're pretty awesome. Yeah. That's what we love, just hanging out and building our community.
Thank you.
And then finally, and last but not least in any way, my good friend Stephanie Wilson, because you're amazing, my friend. You do a lot of really good work. I get to work with you a lot and hang out with you a lot. So I know you better than many at this point, which I'm very excited to say that I do, because you're such an amazing person.
Oh my
Just go
gosh.
hang out with Stephanie
Thank you.
at Freedom Over Fascism.
Yes.
She hangs out with me on Sick of the Shit Publications every Monday for a chronic illness discussion, for anyone who doesn't know. And she's a big part of helping me stay mentally sane in a lot of ways throughout the week. So come support Stephanie. She's awesome. Stephanie, sell yourself any more if you want to. And thanks to whoever just scanned her QR code.
So Freedom Over Fascism is live Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 1, although it's on hiatus until January. And I talk to people who can help provide context and messaging and understanding of the way culture and history and politics and this moment work. I would love it if you would subscribe. I would love it if somebody can do a paid subscription. I'm on 98 right now. So one of you can push me over the 100 mark. And I have a gift special running. So you can buy a subscription as a gift for somebody else.
So help Stephanie get over 100 paid subs on Substack before
and I
Christmas.
guess I managed to figure out the thumb thing without knowing.
Actually, help Stephanie before the end of the weekend, before Hanukkah is over. We've got a couple more days of Hanukkah left. Help Stephanie out. Oh, that's 3 people so far who have scanned the QR code for you, Steph. That's amazing. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you
for being here with us. Thank you so much. I'll put Banner and Backbones back up one more time. Please come support the network that helps bring this all together. I'm a co-founder here, so I love plugging it. We're doing a lot of hard work. We're trying to put in a lot of effort to get easier creator tools and build a community and help give folks like Stephanie and Tara and Chris and Melissa Corrigan and Shane Urich and Walter Ryan and Lawrence Winterman, my other co-founder, and Ellie Leonard, extra platforms to speak on and extra places to get their messages out and boost their content. And that's what Banner and Backbone is. It's Content Booster Network. Let's go boost each other, help grow and support new media that is not fascist, corporatist owned, and who wants to break through the strongman facade that is ruining our country. So thanks everyone for joining us today.
Thank you.
One final programming note: we will be off next Friday. It is the day after Christmas. We will be back on the 2nd of January, right in the turn of the new year, for our next discussion into Ruth Ben-Ghiat's Strongmen, where we will be going into probably chapter 3 to finish out part 1 of the book. And so everyone, have a great rest of your Hanukkah. Have a Merry Christmas. Have a Happy Kwanzaa. Have a wonderful New Year. And we will see you
Happy
all.
solstice, too.
Happy solstice. Happy Boxing Day. Happy day to everybody that celebrates a
Saturnalia. Don't forget Saturnalia.
Saturnalia. Anybody who celebrates a holiday during this time, happy holidays. We appreciate all of you. Stay engaged. Stay activated. Talk about the stuff that you've learned here in this book club at home. It starts at home and is local. And spread the knowledge. Start your own book club. And we'll see y'all on the 2nd of January. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, guys.
See ya.